All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're looking at a foundational text that is simply but powerfully titled A Student's Guide to Mastering Chatbots. You know, in an era where artificial intelligence is literally everywhere, it can feel incredibly overwhelming to know exactly where to begin, especially if you're trying to use these tools for your education. I mean, it's so easy to just type a quick question into a prompt box and hope for the best, right? But that is absolutely not what we're talking about today. We're digging into this specific guide because it completely reframes the whole conversation. It's not about the technology replacing your brain, it's about how you can actually harness the technology to enhance your learning. It sets out a really specific roadmap, and we're going to break down exactly what that means for you.
So look at that word right there, master. That is a direct challenge to you. Notice it doesn't ask if you're ready to simply use a chatbot or talk to a chatbot. Mastery implies real intention. It implies that you are the one sitting firmly in the driver's seat. When you approach AI with the ultimate goal of mastery, you aren't just passively accepting the very first answer it spits out. You're learning its quirks, you're understanding its limitations, and you're figuring out how to prompt it to give you the precise educational support you actually need. Basically, it turns a passive little interaction into a highly active, engaging challenge.
Okay, moving right along to Section 1. What is a chatbot? Let's get into the introduction.
To really wrap our heads around this, think of a chatbot as, well, kind of like a hyper-fast librarian, one who has read literally every book in existence but is completely devoid of mind-reading abilities. It's not some magic answer key that just does your homework for you. It's a highly capable system that absolutely requires your clear, thoughtful instructions to actually be useful. Think about it. If you walk into a library and just yell history at the poor librarian, you're definitely not going to get the specific book you need for your essay on the French Revolution. The exact same rule applies here. A chatbot is a dynamic digital tool. It responds directly to the quality of the questions you ask it. The better you understand it as an educational aid rather than a quick shortcut, the more power you're going to unlock.
And there is just a massive difference between passively interacting with AI and actively mastering it. Simply using it, that's copying a homework prompt, pasting it in, and just accepting the first generic answer it generates. At that point, you haven't learned anything, and you've basically become entirely dependent on the machine. But mastering, that looks completely different. Mastering is asking the bot to act as a debate opponent so you can test your knowledge on that French Revolution essay. It's asking it to break down a super complex concept into an analogy that you can actually understand. Mastering means you are using the chatbot to build your own mental muscles, not just letting it do all the heavy lifting for you.
Let's jump to Section 2. Why use them? This is a guide specifically for school students.
I love this exact phrase from our source material because it really highlights that this isn't some dry corporate tech manual. This is a tailored guide meant entirely for your homework desk. And that distinction? It's everything. A guide written for software developers or corporate marketers would focus on completely different metrics, stuff like output volume or generating code, but this text recognizes the unique ecosystem of a school. It acknowledges that you have assignments, you have tests, and you have a fundamental need to actually comprehend the material you're studying. The guidance here is calibrated specifically for your academic environment.
And because the focus is strictly on you, the student, the chatbot essentially becomes an extension of your own curiosity. If an interaction ever makes you think less, well, you've drifted completely off course. The technology is here to serve your educational growth. Think of it as an around-the-clock tutor that's always ready to brainstorm, outline, or review. It's designed to elevate your capabilities, not to just do the work for you. Always, always keep that ultimate goal in mind. This is all about making you a stronger, far more capable learner.
All right, Section 3, Mastering the Basics. Here is your step-by-step introduction.
So how do we actually shift from being a passive consumer to an active director? Well, step 1, recognize it as a tool. Look, a hammer doesn't build a house on its own, right? And a chatbot doesn't learn for you. It's just another instrument in your academic toolkit. Step 2, approach it as a student. Bring your natural curiosity and, honestly, a healthy dose of skepticism right into that prompt box. And step 3, you got to commit fully. You're not going to write the perfect prompt on day 1. It takes practice, it takes analyzing the responses you get, and continuously refining how you interact with the interface.
Which brings us to Section 4, the final takeaway. Let's look at what mastering truly means.
Let's just anchor these core principles real quick. Remember, this guide is for you, the student. Your needs absolutely come first. The ultimate goal here is intentional mastery, not just lazy, casual use. We're aiming high and moving way beyond the basics. This really sets the ground rules for your entire future with AI, and it's built completely around keeping actual human learning and comprehension right at the absolute forefront of the classroom.
So I want to leave you with this final, slightly provocative thought to really spark your curiosity about how you'll actively apply this guide going forward. The next time you sit down with an assignment and open up an AI tool, just pause for a second. Ask yourself, am I just using this, or am I mastering it? Am I acting like a passive consumer, or am I actually taking charge as a student? Because that choice is entirely yours, and mastering that choice is the first real step in your educational journey with this incredible technology. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this helps you approach your next study session with a whole new perspective.